In this video, I will be attempting to solve the day 5 puzzles from the 2017 Galactic Puzzle Hunt by Team Whoosh Galactic Translators Nyom. Check the video description for links to the puzzles, links to a playlist of all of the solving videos for this puzzle hunt, and timestamps of puzzles within this video if you want to skip around. There's a spoiler alert for all of the puzzles as the answers will be revealed. I don't have much new to say since the last video. I mean, there haven't been any puzzle hunts that I've participated in lately. I'm sure there's a lot going on. I don't do as many puzzles as I would like to, and I don't revisit old puzzle hunts like this as much as I would like to. Every time I do a puzzle hunt, I always think, oh, I should go back and check out those puzzles later. So I'm really glad I'm doing this. It's definitely fun, but I can see why I don't do it very often because obviously it takes a long time. Yeah, all right, day 5, let's go. Day 5, puzzle 1. So I haven't looked at this puzzle yet, but the puzzle name by itself already gives me some idea, I think, of what this might be about. So this looks like International Phonetic Alphabet, which I don't know very well. I think this might be pronounced dʒʌmbəl. Yeah, okay. Cool. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is dʒʌmbəl, but let's see. It's probably going to need it. Let me see if I can find something that will pronounce that for me. IPAreader.xyz.
dʒʌmbəl. dʒʌmbəl.
Okay, cool. So let's take a look at the puzzle. So this seems to be in the style of a dʒʌmbəl puzzle from a newspaper, except all the letters are International Phonetic Alphabet rather than English letters. I think I understand how this works. You have each of these rearranges to a word, and then you take the circled letters and rearrange those to get a final answer, and that is the answer to this clue with this picture here. And there's a little more to it. So we've got 3 puzzles like that. But in addition to the circled letters, there's also diamond letters. Yeah, this one, in addition to the square letters, there's also diamond letters. And then at the bottom here, okay, so I take all of the circle, square, diamond, and octagonal letters together. Hopefully by the end of this, I'll have a good enough grasp on some of these letters anyway, to not have to look every single one up. Yeah, I have to say these guides to the International Phonetic Alphabet are really cool, the way that all the letters are arranged in a, I assume, logical structure here. Yeah, vowels go closed to open and front to back. And if I knew what a voiceless post-alveolar fricative sounded like, then this would be great. This would be all I need. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to get the pronunciation good enough just from this chart. I'm going to need something more like a pronunciation guide that tells me what English words contain these sounds. But I do think this is really cool. So this seems like it shouldn't be too hard. I mean, these aren't that different from English letters, like the S is going to sound like an S, I believe. Maybe I'll just try a few and see how it comes out. So the NG sound, S, short I as in hit, and then T. So can you combine consonants to get like sting? Okay. Yeah, cool, this is handy. So the dictionary has the International Phonetic Alphabet spelling for this word. So I can verify that, yeah, if I rearrange these symbols, I can spell sting. Okay, so R as in red, as in cup, the as in this, as in away. So could this be other? Yeah, okay, cool. Parade. No. Oh, it's as in father. Right? Oh, wait. The A and this I here combine to form I, as in 5. Pride. Yeah, nice. Okay, cool. Great. So that is the 4 individual words from this first puzzle. The paintball enthusiast's reaction upon learning about new state regulations. Okay. So we need the circled characters out of the unjumbled things. Tierga.
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 Drugget.
So regret would sort of make sense here. Trigger. Just got an extra D. Treat.
Triggered. Triggered.
Trigger, could that be triggered? Okay, so this upside down C and capital I is oi as in boy. So hoist. I have to be careful here. So this A is different from this A. I don't see this A. See it upside down right here. This seems very standard, the International Phonetic Alphabet, but I'm getting the impression there's not exactly one right way to do it. There's some small variations. I think this might be one of them. I think this upside down A might be referring to the same symbol, same sound as this right side up A. Belong. That looks pretty different.
Balong.
Balong. Yeah, that doesn't sound right. Oblong.
Oblong.
Yeah, cool. So, I assume I'm pronouncing ethical correctly. This symbol is eh, not It should be this one, as in met. So this guide, yeah, I think this is not the same guide the dictionary is using. It's not what this puzzle's using. So let me see if I can find a better one, or find one that matches. This one's kind of weird, but it does have the symbol for as in egg. So we need a 7-character word for an endearing term for a friend who plays way too much Tetris. Oh, this one's actually pretty easy.
Blockhead.
So just a J written as in English is y as in yeast.
Tinyev.
Tinyev. All right, come back to this one. If this is when, is this Wednesday then?
Wednesday.
Yeah, okay, great. Exocet.
Exocete.
Exocete. Exesty.
Exesty.
Ecstasy. Ecstasy.
Ecstasy.
Nice. So that's all but one. Let me see if I can back solve this one. All right, so we've got 6 of the 8 characters here. Oh no, the other 2 have to be 2 of these. The politician's favorite university classes. Alright, so it's probably a plural that ends in Z. Electives? That would make sense. Okay, so that means we're missing, I guess, the 2 vowels out of here. In some order. On the other hand, I don't necessarily need to get this one. There's no diamonds in here, so that means I have all of the letters that will go in here. If I could tell what this image is, that would help me a lot. How somebody eats a single piece of spaghetti with a spoon. Is that even eating? Is that like a magnifying glass? This could be something like how detectives check their food. Bit. Biz. Bic. Kit. Bill. So it could be Bill. Okay. How somebody orders their bill. Yeah, can we get there in here? Can we get diamond, square, circle, circle to be there? Okay. Circle. Yeah, okay. Let's go with that. This symbol here I think can only appear before a certain other symbol. So one of these consonants followed by oi, followed by one of these vowels. Boys. Coys. Bleat. Bleak. Hoyle. Boil. Could be boil. Could be eggs. Boil their eggs. I do not feel confident about this, but let's try it. This is probably not a detective looking through a magnifying glass. It looks more like somebody holding a spoon, but isn't there something like a hard-boiled detective? Hard-boiled. Can we get detective? That'll settle that question. D-E-T. We can. Okay, so you can get detectives. I think. Okay, so all these need to be arranged to form the last word. How detectives boil their eggs. Let's definitely start with hard. H-A-R-D. L-A-I. Hard. Hard-liked. Oh! O-D-D-S. O-D-S-S. These are pretty similar. I wonder if it should be how detectives like their eggs hard-boiled. You know what? Let's, that makes so much sense. Let's just try it out, see if this looks right. So we've got triggered, blockhead, electives, and then the diamond letters. Okay, cool, looks good. Before I think about what the answer is, let me spend just another minute just trying to get this last one.
You've met.
Oh, vignette.
Vignette.
Wow, I don't know why that one was so hard for me. So this bottom part extracts you how detectives like their eggs, hard-boiled, in IPA, obviously. So my first guess for the answer is hard-boiled in English. All right, great. Stop the timer. Okay, this was dʒʌmbəl by Leonard Jansen, who also did television on day 3. Yeah, what a great idea for a puzzle. This is a simple twist on a very familiar format. Yeah, it was just really neat. As I imagine most people who spend a lot of time reading the dictionary, I've always thought, I should learn to pronounce IPA someday, but I never got around to it. So this was cool and educational. So I thought the format was good. It was a good difficulty ramp, starting easy and getting more complicated and difficult as you go along. I thought the final extraction, pulling everything together, was pretty cool. I feel like he really captured the style of a newspaper jumble puzzle with the sketchy artwork and the silly puns. This pronunciation site was really handy. I'm really glad this was here. It was a very useful tool. I hope that it was there 4 years ago when people were solving this. It would have been much more difficult without it. The solution write-up is good. It does say that they had to use a specific brand of IPA, I guess I always assumed that the whole point of IPA is that there was exactly one way to represent a sound, but I guess not. So I wonder how much more complicated that made the puzzle setter's job. There is an apology here for people who do not speak with the American English accent. Yeah, anytime you involve pronunciation rather than spelling, that makes the puzzle much more complicated. So I thought it was good and straightforward to solve, but I do have an accent that matches the accent this was written for. So yeah, I don't know how much of a difference that made. Overall, a great idea and a fun solve. Day 5, Puzzle 2, YOLO Queue. My teammates are all really bad. Where are they getting their cues from, and how are they messing them up? All Summoner Aatrox. Wow, you really dropped the ball on that one. 21 of these cues, I guess. Each with a different name, and it seemed like fantasy names. Yeah, and that's it. So all and Summoner are the same in every one, so it's just the name and this quote. Wow, you really dropped the ball on that one. No, you're not playing Zerg, and you don't need another supply unit. That's a different game. Are you really trying to contact your dead cat for advice? So these are all like second person. So each of these, I'm guessing this person is saying this line to somebody else. My first guess is that this whole thing needs to be put in sequence. Each person says one line, and they're referring to the person who just spoke. It says, where are they getting their cues from? And also, this is Q, like everyone's standing in a line. And I notice that Q and Q here are homophones. I don't really care that your Nana was an astronaut. So maybe one of these is like a character from something who is the grandchild of an astronaut. Okay. So I guess these are all characters from League of Legends, which I think is a video game. So each of these has a number of stats. So Aatrox, the first one here, has a nickname, the Darkened Blade, a class, and a whole bunch of other stats which could be important. It looks like Q might be a stat or ability or something in this game. Q is the first champion ability. Okay. Aatrox's first champion ability. Is that the same as first cast? Oh, I see. Okay. So this here is the letter for the ability. So this one has a name, Orb of Deception. So you really drop the ball, could be Orb of Deception. Let's get a few more of these in here. So this whole box, the Darkened Blade, is Q, and it can do multiple different things. Let's just go with that. Yeah, about halfway through, I don't see how this is going to work out yet. But I have a feeling that these are going to be important at some point, so go ahead and fill in the rest. So Q is only one of 4 different abilities. Q, W, E, and R, named after the keys on the keyboard. It's possible I'll need to use the other ones as well. I'm just starting with Q because it's clued in the title. Let's see if any of these seem to match up. So I'm thinking that probably these need to be modified somehow. How are they messing them up? So like restricting the movements of birds could be duck binding, something like that. All your mouth does is brag. Could be jaws of the boast. I like that well enough. Let's go ahead and put that in. And so that's coming from Warwick. Okay, here we go. Contact Your Dead Cat is Tiger Seance. No wonder you really dislike backbone. Hate spine. One letter off. Hate spike. You idiot. Do you not understand how the directional keys on your keyboard work? Dance of arrows becomes dunce of arrows. Okay, only 3 more. That's pretty good. Oh, yeah, I need to remember this from 2017. Short video clips. End of the Vine. Okay. Oh, okay. Yep. I had a feeling I might have made a mistake on at least one of these. Lunge. Okay, alright, so you can at least breathe. Must be lungs. I guess I'm not sure how this is going to work, if it's going to be in a cycle that goes all the way through, or if there's going to be one at the beginning and one at the end. So we've got all but one now. So let's put them in. Let's see if we can put them in order, and we'll see about that last one. So Aatrox. I don't have anybody taking this cue, so we'll put Aatrox last. Now Aatrox takes Vane's cue. 20. Vane takes York's cue. 19. Okay, great. So we have this order. Karthus goes first and uses their cue ability, which is Lay Waste. Ezreal mishears Lay Waste as Day Waste and makes this response. Then Ezreal's cue is Mystic Shot. And then Kindred mishears Mystic Shot as Mystic Snot, and so on. Okay, so where are they getting the clues from and how are they messing them up? So let's take the letters that were in the original and what they became. So Aatrox took the cue from Vane, which is Tumble, and Tumble became Fumble. Let's say it went from T to F. Okay, Overload became Overlord. Okay, looks pretty good. Let's put them in this order here. Okay, let's do this backward. F, Silver, Song, 9, Sound. Okay, so this is the opposite way that I thought, but it's easy to go the other way. I think we're starting from the wrong place. I think that 9 should be the end. Like it's an enumeration. So let's say you look like a fool when you move through the air. Must be based on the darkened blade. Let's say it's the Dorkin blade. Don't quite get how move through the air. Maybe that's something from the game. Okay, so that'd be A to an O. Yeah, I like that. And we'll say we'll start with this one with sound. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I feel pretty good about this, but if something doesn't add up, I'll see if I can justify why we're starting from this one. Because I don't have a good reason for that other than this extraction looks a little better. So Sound of Silver Song 9. So Sound of Silver is the name of an album. What's the songs on it? I was hoping one of them would be a 9-letter word. All right, innocuous is 9 letters. I think that's the only 9-letter word here. I don't feel confident about this, but based on my experience on day 4, I decided that I want to try to go out on a limb more when it comes to the extraction. Let's give this a try. The name of the song is Get Innocuous. But innocuous is a 9-letter word. Let's see if that's right. No. Okay, so not innocuous. Oh, okay. No, it should just be the 9th track, right? It's a pretty long song title, but New York, I love you, but you're bringing me down. Could that be the answer? Okay, great. Wow, that is probably the longest answer I've ever seen to a puzzle. All right, cool. Oh, man. 1 hour, 14 minutes. YOLO Queue by Ben Yang, who also did What Do You Do on Day 2? This was good. This was a little easier than I expected for a Day 5 puzzle, and looking at the solve rate. I wonder if possibly I got lucky figuring out that Q was an ability in the game. If you didn't get that, then it was pretty hard to get started on this. But I don't know how hard it was for other people who aren't familiar with the game to find. I just happened upon it. The extraction I thought was a little unusual, although if you've seen the Day 4 video, then I learned from that video to be a little more loose with the extraction. I wonder if I could have gotten hung up on this part if I didn't have that experience. The ordering of these was a little weird because... So I think what's happening here is that Aatrox is saying, wow, you really dropped the ball on that one. And that is a reference to Vane's ability. And since this is past tense, you'd think Aatrox comes after Vane. But that's not the case. Aatrox comes before Vane in the sequence. Certainly if you have like all of them figured out, then it's pretty obvious that it's backward. But I wonder if this could have tripped up some people, that it's reversed from the way you expect. If you had several gaps in there, it could have been harder to figure that out. I doubt that slowed anybody down by that much. There's some good author's notes. It says here, and I definitely did not catch this, that Sounds of Silver in the extraction is also a reference to the silver ranking tier in the game. Yeah, I certainly didn't pick that up. I guess that people who are familiar with the game would have got that. And that's always nice to have a little bonus for people who are familiar with the source material. So yeah, Day 5 is coming along pretty well so far, but there's still 3 puzzles to go. Day 5, Puzzle 3, Drive. There were some reports of suspicious activity in the area. Can you reconstruct what happened and track down the cars? Alright, so it's like a logic puzzle. Maybe. So the people mentioned in here are not just simple, it's not just like a set of occupations or something. A boy receiving a scuba suit for his birthday, drag racing king, man filming crimes and selling the footage. So this could be references to something like characters from a movie, maybe. All right, then we've got a set of paths taken by cars. So I assume this is a type of car. Alfa Romeo Spider 1600. And then a path. It doesn't say where it starts, but if we can narrow it down to where it starts, then we can trace out its whole path. North 2 blocks, east 1 block, south 2 blocks. I wonder if these specific cars appear in movies. Okay. An Alfa Romeo Spider 1600 is featured in the 1967 film The Graduate. I don't think I've seen that one. And a biting man being mistaken for someone else could be The Big Lebowski. 1973 Ford Gran Torino is the car from that movie. Ford Gran Torino. Okay, cool. Yeah, this doesn't really seem like a logic puzzle. We just need to match up the characters with the cars. And then I imagine if we place their paths on the grid, that will spell something or tell us the next step. Yeah, I'm pretty sure these are each a different movie with a car that features prominently. All right, so I only know a few, and I'm not even sure about these. Got the cars and their corresponding paths here. Got the description and the movies here, so I should be able to pair them up for the ones I know. So the Big Lebowski car was 1973 Ford Gran Torino. Iron Man 2. Audi R8 Spider. Alright, yeah, so this is working out really well. Some of these cars are well known in their movie, and some of them maybe not so much. So now I have two ways I can go about this. I can either try to find out what movie these clues are corresponding to, or I can try to figure out what movie these cars appeared in. And this Internet Movie Cars database is pretty great. 27 pages of movies that the Buick Riviera has appeared in. Maybe that one's a little too common. Alright, every car driven by Brian in the Fast and Furious movies. Okay, Brian used the green Eclipse during this first street race. Let's go with that, I'm not positive. There's just so many cars in these movies. Okay, cool. So in some cases I need to pay attention not only to what movie it's from, but which character is referenced in this description. Okay, so there might still be something we need from the report. I don't want to completely count it out, but let's start by, now that we've got a movie for each of the report locations, and we know the corresponding car, and for each car we know the directions that it took, we can try like either starting or ending in this spot and draw it out, see how that looks. Okay, our town has 8 horizontal streets labeled 1st Street from the north to 8th Street in the south, and 8 vertical lanes labeled 1st Avenue on the west to 8th Avenue on the east. Okay, 1st to 8th Street, 1st to 8th Avenue. Okay, so this first one is 1st Street and 7th Avenue. Then it goes west, 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 south, west, north. Okay, seems fine so far. Let's put a few more on here. So these two overlap for one block. Interesting. So the fact that they all fit in the grid, none of these go outside the grid, makes me think that it is the right thing to do to start at this point and then follow the path from there. However, I don't think that just putting them all together or on top of each other like this is the right thing to do. A lot of these overlap, and so I think that it's going to be important somehow which one is part of which path. This segment here has 2 paths that go through it. So do a couple of these segments, and a couple of them have 3 paths that go through them. And so 4, 6, and 9 all go through this section. Iron Man 2, Vanishing Point, Nightcrawler. Yeah, so it would be cool if after starting at this point, following this path, you wound up somewhere that starts another path, but that's not going to be the case, I know, in general, because we've got this box, this one that ends up backward starts and nothing ever reaches there. We've got a number of dead ends here, so it's not like the end of every path is the beginning of another one. Let's index into the car name. Try index into the movie name. Alright, yeah, indexing the ending position into the movie name and the car name doesn't produce anything, although I don't have a good ordering for them. I thought about ordering by the street and then indexing by the avenue. Yeah, it doesn't produce anything. Oh, you know, a number of these end up in the same place. Only 4 pairs, though. Okay. Well, it was a long shot anyway. I didn't expect this to do anything. I think that I do need to use the grid somehow more than just finding out the ending location. Boy, I think that if I was making a stunt driving car course that just covered the basics, I wouldn't call it a crash course. So the fact that it's an 8x8 grid makes me think it could be like chess or checkers. 15 paths, 16 different pieces on the side of a chessboard. I don't think this really makes sense. Like, bishops move diagonally, and there's no... These all move orthogonally. Yeah. I've got too many different ways to index into something and too many things to index into. Between the starting street and avenue and the ending street and avenue, the length of the path, the movie name, the character name, the car name, is just too many possibilities. And then how do you sort them? I think that if this is the right track, there would be a hint somehow to what you're supposed to do. Reconstruct what happened makes me imagine that maybe there's like a timeline. Maybe these happen in some order. I was trying to see if there was some way that they could like pass off something, like one driver could meet up with the location of the next driver and follow a path. It doesn't really work out very well for a few different reasons. Or like maybe if these drives happen simultaneously, then or they overlap, then people will be in certain locations at certain times. And track down the cars makes me think we need to look at the ending location. Okay. Okay, I'm going to give up. It's been a couple hours since I've been stuck. When I was doing the day 1, day 2 videos, I thought that I should spend at least, 6 hours on each puzzle, but I think there's very little chance of me getting at this point, and I think it's probably better if I just move things along so I get the video out faster. So that is a failure. Go ahead and stop the clock here. Okay, interesting. Okay, so I took a quick look at the solution, and I saw that they were listing the car's license plates. Let's see how far we can get. See if we can figure it out from that. Okay. Cool, great. So with a couple of exceptions, the length of the license number is one more than the length of the path. So I probably made a couple of mistakes, but that's a pretty obvious place to start. We can trace out the license number along the path. So the Men in Black car starts here. Its license is SZV 7 6 6 3 7 6 PCE. Yeah, I was hoping that the number where they appear together would match up. All right, so I couldn't figure it out. Let's go ahead and look at the answer. Wow. Okay. Drive by Anderson Wang. Anderson Wang was also an author on Zero Space on day 1 and the author of How to Best Write an Essay on day 2. So let's get to the end of the solution. So I was right that you take the license numbers and put them along the path that the car takes. And they don't match up. I was expecting that the numbers in the same intersection would be the same. But what you do is you look at every case where there are multiple cars that go through that intersection. And so like this one has a 6, 2, 6, and S here. 6 plus 2 plus 6 is 14. So this is saying that the 14th letter of the extraction is S. Yep, so if you do that with all of them, you get 18 different numbers and put them in order, and you get the clue to the final answer, Ethel Clayton. I did have a couple minor mistakes in my grid, but nothing that I think would have made the difference with me figuring this out or not. Now that I've seen how this is done, I think this was a hard puzzle. Possible I would have gotten the license numbers if I thought about it for long enough, but the means of pulling the answer from the grid is not very intuitive to me. I like that they don't have much in the way of flavor text, something to hint at either the license numbers or that you're supposed to add up numbers in the same space would have been, maybe made this more possible for me. But that's fine. It's day 5. It's supposed to be pretty hard, I imagine. So I really like that they have you use the grid. I like it whenever there's some element that you can't just do in the spreadsheet. You have to draw it out. And looking at this is a very impressive construction. They only are able to work with the license numbers of cars that appear in movies. So that's pretty limited. And the way it all works out is really well done. They said that they had to work really hard to get it perfectly right, and I believe it. I thought this was well put together. Day 5, Puzzle 4, Unaligned. All right, so we've got 2 grids and 2 sets of across and down clues. So the grids are 15 by 17, and they have 5 shaded regions. I think they're both identical. And each of the clues has multiple parts. This one is 3 clues together. This one is 2 clues together. The 3 clues for one across, the answers are put in order on row 1. Yeah, so 17 sets of across clues, 15 sets of down clues, and same with the second grid. All right, that took 20 minutes, but I've got the first puzzle in the sheet in a way that I think will be okay to work with. With crossword puzzles, if I don't want to make the text too small, it's really hard to get the whole thing on, so hopefully this won't be too hard to follow. All right, so this is not working out the straightforward way. Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. It could be as simple as these need to be in a different order. I thought at first that the clues were in alphabetical order within each one, which would suggest that you need to rearrange them, but that's not the case. Yeah, in a lot of cases they are in alphabetical order, but not every single one. Yeah, CHG. I have a feeling that the order is going to be important, but we could still rearrange them. All right, this is working out. I'm pretty sure this is right. So church official ranking below a priest is deacon, blank free is Scott, prefix with dactyl is tarot, and in the grid we have Scott, then tarot, then deacon. And it's pretty easy to figure out, if you know the words, what order they go in based on the cross clues. Yeah, I think I should be able to get this. It'll just take some time. Okay, so I got the grid for the first puzzle. Wasn't too bad. You know, it just took some time. Yeah, none of these clues were really unusual in any way. You have to reorder the answers in some of the rows and columns. So I highlighted here in orange the ones where you don't, where the clues are in the same order as the answers. And it could just be a coincidence because, you know, if you sort them randomly or something, you'll get some in order sometimes. But I suspect there's something else. And it seems like there's more than you would expect if everything was just random or in some other arbitrary order. So I have no idea why some of them might be like that, but I'll remember it. And you know, maybe I'll look for it in the puzzle 2. Don't see anything else I want to try before diving into puzzle 2, so yeah, it could be a while before I finish this one as well. But might as well get started. Okay, I see. So what I realize is that in each case, either they're all in order, or it's a cycle. Deacon Scott Tarot becomes Scott Tarot Deacon. So like you just start in a different place. Like in this case, you start at the second clue, and then you go to the third, and then back to the beginning. So you never, for instance, get them in order 3, 2, 1, something like that. So 1 is IBM, 2 is Bayou, 3 is U, 4 is Anon. We have a non-IBM Bayou U. That's 4, 1, 2, 3. So for ones that are only 2, that's not surprising at all. It has to be that way. But the fact that it happens everywhere, I've only checked the across clues, but for runs of 3 and 4, makes me think that's on purpose. So that explains why some of them are in order, I think. They intentionally chose one of the clues to be first, and then order the clues that way. Okay. I definitely do not know why that's the case yet, but it will help in solving the second one, because I know that these clues can't just be in any order. Okay, looks pretty good. Yeah, so the second puzzle, same as the first. Nothing looked out of place. Everything seemed to be in order, starting from one of the clues and proceeding in a cycle around. So now I've got the 2 grids filled out. Yeah, so I could, for instance, like highlight all of the letters in the grid that correspond to the first clue in here. Yeah, maybe that's a good next step, but let's start by putting the 2 puzzles side by side. This reminds me of another puzzle where we had 2 grids. I don't remember if it was from this hunt or a different one. But let's look at everywhere where the 2 grids match. An O and an O. It doesn't really look like a pattern or that it spells anything. So, okay, so this could be something. It looks to me like if we, so within this 3x5 grid, if we cycle the letters in each row, then we can spell a 3-letter word. So A-C-E, ace, I-L-K, D-O-E, U-S-E, T-E-N. And what about vertically? Cloud is already a word. Aiden is a name. Net, dry, ion, aft, oft. Great. And what about the puzzle 2? Not, pal, rid, age, fly. Oh, okay. Let me see. Okay, so I think what happens is it's not the case that these are in alphabetical order. However, I think that they put the first one in alphabetical order first. That's not the case with these. Like this would be FRO. But if so, that means we don't need to extract any information from the exact ordering. What this is just a clue that we need to cycle the letters in, like we cycled the clues. So let's highlight the first letter in each of these words. Pot, fro, lead, ass, die. Okay, so in each case there's one of two options. So we could do like binary here, since it's 5 letters. Five bits can make a letter. So we've got left, 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 right, right, and also right, 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 left, left. So either way, we're going to need one that's 1, 1, 1, 0, 0. So I think that this can't work, although, maybe I made a mistake somewhere here. All right, so aligning them vertically yields very little. I see close here, I see braid here, but that's about it. Yeah, I don't think this is right. Oh wait, here's igloo. Rinse. Wine. Oh, interesting, okay. Offer. Okay, cool. No, this is good. All right, so this is step 2. Let's do step 3. Yeah, so I need to rearrange the central columns here. But I don't know whether to leave the outer columns where they are or move them along with them. So, for instance, this needs to spell store, so I could take these 3 rows off here and move back up. Or I could have just moved the letters in store and left the rest where they were. All right, so close and braid are already in order. That's good. There's 3 words that start with vowels, so I could just take the first letters. Okay, unless Moscow ribs is a thing, I can't just anagram this. Yeah, I definitely feel close. I feel like there might be one more thing we need to do to realign these. I'm trying to imagine some other way we could shift this. Like we've shifted the rows and the columns. Now I'm wondering if like entire blocks, like shifting this column with respect to this column or something. This column of 3x5 blocks. Nothing is jumping out of me, that's for sure. One thing is that there's no clear order to put these in. So I put the letters here in order crossing down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But they're not clearly laid out that way. Okay, interesting. So these numbers here are the row at which the word starts. So this word starts at the top, so it's row 1. This word starts on the second row, S-C-I-Z-E, so that's 2. Okay, so everything's going to be a number 1 through 5. But I noticed that the first puzzle has 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and the second puzzle has 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah, that's almost certainly not by accident. What does it mean? Gives us an ordering. CSOSM. It lets us match up pairs, so we can match this one to this one. Okay. All right, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the first puzzle, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the second puzzle. And this is 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. Either way would make sense to me. But I see something here. Left eye right. I could also try shifting this so it could be like right left eye or eye right left. I don't know if those sound any better. So not left eye right. Oh, here we go. 0 is 1. Oh, I see it now. Okay. So these are the 5 from the first puzzle, put in order 1 through 5. And the second row and the fourth row spell left is 0. For the second puzzle, the second row and the fourth row spell right is 1. So the first thing this makes me think of is when I looked at here with the binary, but we already tried that. It didn't make any sense. It's like this one, if left is 0, if we look at these two columns, left column is 0, the right column is 1. That's 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. Yeah, this is what I tried already. So 1, 0, 0, 0, 1 is Q. 1, 1, 1, 0, 0 is a problem. Question mark. This is even worse. 1, 1, 1, 1, 0. Okay. This is really exciting. This is like the 4th time I felt like I'm so close to the answer. So all of the answers go left to right. They start on the left side and on the right side. The cross clues are on the left and the down clues are on the right. Oh, I guess when these get cycled through, they could wind up different. So like store starts on this line. LOCKSHORNS. Locks, horns. It's getting complicated. But these letters come from, you assign 0 and 1 based on whether each row is left or right. But then when you cycle down to get the 5-letter word, then you also cycle the numbers along with it. So it sort of reorders the 1s and the 0s. And then interpret that as binary. You get these 10 letters. In order, they don't spell anything. CKSLOORNSH. Yeah, so I feel pretty good about these letters. I have no idea why they might be in a different order. Let's see. All right, great. Answer was locks, horns. This was Unaligned. We've got 5 credits here, written by Colin Liu, John Schneider, and Anderson Wang, based on an idea by Rahul Sridhar and Patrick Xia. So overall, this was a really cool concept. This puzzle was sort of based around the concept, this whole idea of rotation where you have a sequence and you move some items from the back to the front and the front to the back. That's a very puzzle-esque sort of concept. I can totally see that being used in a puzzle, but for whatever reason, you don't see it very much. The construction is very impressive. I guess if you don't make crossword puzzles I mean, I don't know how hard it is to appreciate, but this must have been really hard to make. Aside from just like impressing people who are solving it, it also makes it fun for people who are solving it, I think, because the whole puzzle is sort of like this unfolding where you realize there are layers to it that you weren't aware of before. It's a really cool sensation when you realize that there was something hidden there all along that was right in front of you. So the first 2 hours of this for me were solving the crossword puzzles. And that was fine. You know, I like crosswords. I do think that solving crosswords is probably a little more fun when you're in a group. I know that when it comes to Mystery Hunt, whenever a new puzzle gets unlocked and it's a crossword, suddenly everybody will go work on that puzzle because crossword's something that everybody can sort of dive into and collaborate. And it's fun when you get like 10 people all of a sudden working on a single puzzle and they get through a whole bunch of it at once. So aside from actually like just solving the crossword, I thought that it was a really great idea here that they used the crossword clues and the ordering of the crossword clues to teach the main concept of the puzzle, this rotation. Yeah, they could have put them in order or just completely sorted them in alphabetical order, but the way they did it was much better. It was a really good choice here. Like seeing 3 letters and recognizing that's a rotation of a 3-letter word is something that would have been fair in another puzzle, but definitely much harder. And the fact that they have it in this puzzle, and I didn't feel like it was too hard, a big part of that is that they had introduced the concept already. Yeah, this didn't take me too long, but I do think this was a pretty hard puzzle. So I wonder if things had gone a little different, maybe I would have gotten stuck. The puzzle construction and the hints and everything worked out really well for me, and I had a really good time solving this. All right, last puzzle. Day 5, Puzzle 5. Thunk. This puzzle was interactive and relied on server resources. You can experience this puzzle by downloading and interacting with this Python script. Okay, so it downloads thunk.py, which I should be able to run. Great. So you run the script and you get, looks like a prompt. So if I press enter, sorry, the command doesn't work, type help for help. You find yourself in a mysterious room. Okay, so this looks like it might be a adventure game. Your task is to escape the room. Type look to look around or look object to look at an object. You see a large instructional sign on the wall, a table, a chair, and a door. You are holding a wooden ball. The room is spacious and bright. A box with a large number 1 on it sits on a table. 11 other boxes are sitting in a corner. The sign says, unlock the secrets of the mysterious boxes to escape the room. Type look box to look at the box on the table. Type box number to switch to a different box. Type roll direction number to roll your ball into the machine. Direction should be north, south, east, or west. So this adventure game is like an escape room game, and within that there are various puzzles. So a lot of layers here. So I can type look box to look at box 1. Mysterious box with a calm pattern on it. The box has a large number 1 on the side and a small placard underneath with something etched on it. The box is 2 by 2. It has 2 holes on each of its west and east sides, and 2 holes on each of its north and south sides. I'm holding a wooden ball. I can roll north 1, for instance, to roll your ball into the machine. And so that means put the ball into hole number 1 on the north side. You roll your ball into the south side of the box. Okay, so I guess, i.e. northward. Okay, all right. You hear 1 thunk. The ball pops out on the west out of hole 1. Okay, you hear 0 thunks, and the ball pops out of the north out of hole 2. Let me try the reverse. So if I rolled it in the south hole number 1, then it came out of the west hole number 1 with 1 thunk. So I'm going to guess that if I put in the west hole number 1, then I'll hear 1 thunk, and then it will come out of the south hole number 1. Yep. Okay. 1 thunk, and then okay. So it's like a box with obstacles inside that you can't see, and you put the ball into the holes on the side. It interacts with what's inside, comes out of a different hole, and so using that you can deduce what is inside the box. Small placard underneath with something etched onto it. Discover the secrets of these boxes to escape this room. Each box contains some number of things within, but some of them cannot be measured. Your task is to count how many can be measured. For this box, measured 1, mass 1. Okay, interesting. I don't understand that yet. The holes on the west and east run 1 to the north and 2 to the south. So hole 1 is here, hole 2 is here, hole 1 is here, hole 2 is here. We rolled N1 and it came out west 1. And when we rolled west 1, it came out, we rolled east 1. Yeah, it's a little confusing that to put it in here, you say east. So when you roll it into the south, it comes out the west. When you roll into the west, it comes out the south, this spot. And it says that there was 1 thunk. I'm just guessing that there's an object there and interacted with it and pushed it to the side. And also we saw rolled in the south side 2, it comes out of the north side 2. So I'm going to guess that if that's the only object in here, then also west 2 will correspond to east 2 and vice versa. Okay, great. Yep. All right, so it seems likely that what this is some kind of wall or something that it can bounce off. Like that. The task is to count how many can be measured. And it said measured 1 here. I wonder if when you bounce off the object, that counts as measuring it. So that's just practice. I'm sure they're going to get much more complicated. Let's move on to box 2, though. Okay, there's also a mysterious box with a calm pattern on it. It's cool. And this says measured 4, mass 4. North 1, so south 1, you hear 3 thunks, and then east 1. I think that's the only way, unless I'm misunderstanding how something can work. And so also this one results in here. So let's make a guess as to what is going on here. 1 object, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So if that's the case, then I'm going to guess that rolling into north 2 brings us to west 2, and south 2 brings us to east 2. Let's see if that's the case. Okay, 1 thunk and then out of hole 2 on the east. Okay, great. Cool. So still pretty straightforward. So this box is 3 by 3. It has a mass of 5 and 4 measured. Okay, interesting. North 1 goes to west 1 after 1 thunk. North 2 goes to south 2 after 6 thunks. All right, let's come back to that one. And north 3 goes to east 1 after 1 thunk. All right, very interesting. So we can say 1 object, 2 object, 3, 4. And there is 1 more object in here, either here or here. So the fact that this has a mass of 5 means that there should be 1 more object in here. So we know that what happens if you put a ball in here, you hear 6 thunks and then it comes out here. So one possibility is that it's like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out. But that's not the only possibility. So it could just as easily be facing the other direction, or it could be down here facing either direction. And you get the same result. We can interact with it, but we can't measure it, which means, I guess, that we cannot determine exactly where it is and or what its orientation is. Okay, so box 4. So this one does not tell us the mass, and of course it doesn't tell us how many can be measured. It just says wooden boxes like this are big, heavy, and old. 1 thunk, and then west 1. 1 thunk, and then east 1. 2 thunks, and then south 2. Okay, so there's a couple possibilities there. It could be this, or this. Let's say it starts here and ends here, so we know. Okay, great. So we should be able to fill in the whole thing then, right? 1, 2. Okay. So we can measure 6 out of 6 of these. Okay, seems very simple. Okay, so we've got a 4 by 4 now, so at least it's getting bigger. Observe the fine rig of the curtains, the table's dancing sheen, the make of the boxes. Right, these two join up, but there's two thunks between them, so it could be in a number of places. I didn't do a great job distinguishing these colors, but this one's pretty simple. It's symmetric. So we've clearly got 4 that we can place, definitely. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in each of these cases on the north side, there's 2 thunks, and then it comes out of the other hole. One obvious solution is this. I think that's... No, it's not the only possibility. You could also have this. Or even some combination of this. Like you could have this. Okay. Yeah, so there's a lot of possibilities here. If I understand right, there's not enough information to constrain anything else except for these 4. Yeah, every single space on here could be empty or have a reflector. So the number of measurable is 4. The mass of the box, the number of items in it, could be anywhere from 8 to 16. No, wait. 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I'm not sure about 9 or 11. But let's not worry about that yet. Each box contains some number of things within, but some of them cannot be measured. Your task is to count how many can be measured. So my guess is that we want 4 from this one. It doesn't matter how many things there are total. Okay, so north 1, or north 2 to south 2 after 20 thunks. Right, so I'm going to put a 2 here, say that this color path involves 2 thunks. For this one, I'll put a 20 up here. So this color path involves 20 thunks. Okay, cool. So we can immediately place 6 of these. So 20 thunks is a lot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so here's one possibility. There's not going to be a ton more possibilities. I think that this is pretty well constrained. But we can say that another possibility would be if we flip all 4 of these and these 2. Yeah, so these sort of 6 in the middle that only interact with the red path. Yeah, so that would just effectively mirror image the grid vertically. I say that the 6 we placed originally plus these 2 are measured, and the 6 in the middle here are not. 8 out of 14. Now this box has a swirling pattern, not a calm pattern. Despite this box having some new rules, not an atom is misplaced. This alternates, so if I put it in the top left hole, it alternates between west hole 1 and north hole 2. Okay, so this goes through one of 2 paths. I have a feeling we might have 2 different sets of paths. This one joins up with this one after 3 thunks. So I'm guessing what this is that each item, each wall in the box is alternating its orientation after every roll. That's not necessarily the case. There are other ways that you could get from this hole to this hole in 2 thunks. But let's try that. I think that what we need is in each spot, either it's empty, in which case all the paths pass right through it, or it has this pattern like this, where blues bounce off in one set of directions and reds bounce off in the other set of directions. When we see one path turn, then we can fill in the rest. So like this intersection we know like this. this intersection here, this one here, this one here, and this one here, these four. We don't know yet whether there's anything in those spaces or not. So this blue path here needs to end here after 3 thunks, and we've already got 3 thunks on the path, so we know that that one has to go straight through. There's nothing in this spot. This one needs to join up with this one using only 1 more thunk. So this one must be a turn, and this one must be straight. Okay, cool. So anytime we have a turns either way, that means there's an object there. And anytime the paths pass straight through, that means there's no object there. I think this is the only solution, which means that everything that's there is measurable. 8, 9, 10 of the 12 intersections have turns. 10 out of 10 are measurable. Now, another swirling pattern, great. Okay, this one seems pretty easy, right? We can measure the 8 objects around the side, and we can't measure the one in the middle. 8 measurable out of either 8 or 9 total. Look table. The table is made of oak. It stands steadfast and strong. Chair made of wood, but seems a little flimsy. The doorway out of the room has a message on it. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, so a pretty simple pattern. I think it's pretty straightforward. There are 4 empty spaces in the corners, and the other 12 spaces all have reflectors or objects that we can interact with in some way. Box 10 has a torrential pattern on it, so expect something even different. Discover the shiny brand new rules this box contains. Okay, cool. So I just rolled it 3 times in the same hole and got 3 different results. What could that mean? So I can go here with 1 thunk or here with 2 thunks. This one can also go back here with 1 thunk, or it can go to here with 2 thunks. Okay. It goes 1, 2, 1, 3. 1, 2, 1, 3. So every other one is 1, and then the ones that aren't alternate between the 2 and the 3. So the first time I rolled it into the middle hole on top, 6 thunks, and it comes out the same place. So that's something we have not seen, and something that wouldn't be possible with any of our previous mechanics. The 4th time we have 3 thunks out of east hole 3. So my suspicion of what's going on here is that it's not the case that every wall is reversing after every roll. What happens is after you bounce off a wall, then it reverses. And so it's possible to hit the same wall twice in a single path and have it be in a different orientation the 2 times. And that's how you wind up going back out the way you came. Red for 1, blue for 2, purple for 3. Okay, so this is a path that starts here outside the grid and ends here. All right, so the paths leading from this hole can take 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 steps. And there are at least 6 different paths. You know, if there's a shape here, and it's like this, then you'll go out that path. If not, then you'll go down and flip it to that path. So the next time you will get that. Okay, so out of the other times where it goes down, half the time it will go into this one here, which means that there's something like this that's directing it to the left, except every other time it goes to the right. So every other time it goes to here, every 4th time it goes to here, so in the other 1/4 of the times it will go to the right. And then out of those, every other time it will go down here. And then one time in 8 it will go up. And then one time in 16 it will go right here to this one. And then the other 16ths of the time it will go this way. So 1/32 of the time it will go up to this 2, and 1/32 of the time it will go down to this 2. And I think that's where we stop. If you've gone through 32 rolls and you have not seen anything higher than a 5, you know you can stop. And in general, if you've gone through 2 to the n rolls and you haven't seen anything higher than n, then you know you can stop. And we can say what this probably is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And so you see, this is how you can start and end in the same place. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then when you get back to this one, it's already turned because you've used it once. So 6. And then you wind up back in this hole. 5 out of 5. Another torrential pattern. 16 thunks. Oh, man. Let's do another hole first. 11 thunks. We've only got 3 spots that we don't know whether there's something there or not. 1, 2, 3. So we think that this is empty. This one has an object. This one has an object. This one has an object. Okay. So we said the fact that this could reach here in 3 hits. So this has to be empty. So we can go straight through here, hit an object, straight through here, straight through here. Okay. So here's one. It starts here and gets to this space. So there's 2 thunks used up. And in 5 thunks, it emerges out of hole 1 in the north. Yeah, there's no way. This has to be empty. So the only way for that to happen is thunk, thunk, straight through thunk, thunk, thunk. If this is empty, and we start here, we should get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 thunks and out of south 2. If it is present and a right slash, then we'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 thunks and out of east 3. And if it's present and a right slash, it's more complicated. It goes off the top of the board. God, I messed up because I confused this west and east thing. I type roll east to roll the ball into the west side of the box. Yeah, I know it's going eastward, but this has messed me up several times. So if this spot is empty, rolling in from here, have 4 thunks and out here. Okay, 5 thunks and it pops out of north, out of hole 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah, so that can only happen if there was an X here. Right, so we were able to check every square, so that's 13. 5 by 5. All right. Final exam. Cool. Yeah, if there's 2 objects along the side in a row, then it's pretty easy to find. All right, that's what I was afraid of. All right, so how can we get to 1 in a corner like this? It needs to bounce off at least 2 to get there and at least 2 to get back. 31 thunks. Man, I wonder what's like the theoretical maximum. Here we go. All right. South 3, 5 thunks. Pops out an east out of hole 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to speculate that the path it took was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In theory, it could also go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But that should be easy to verify. If it did go this way, then we know that these have to be like this. Well, okay, so the one before that, it was 2 thunks and it popped out of hole 2. Okay, yep, all right, cool. And so now if we do it again, it should be much more complicated. Another 31 thunks or something. 7, okay. Then it pops out of east hole 2, so probably disrupted some other things we have. But I think this next one should be 2 thunks out of north 4. No. 5 thunks out of east 1 again. Okay, I guess that could happen if the 7 thunks were complicated enough. Actually, yeah. Okay. No, I see how that happened. It did mess all these up. Okay, but now we should see 2 out of north 2. Great. And then 2 out of north 4. Great. Okay, awesome. All right, so we've got that one there. Let's try a few more anyway. Oh, here we go. Okay. 5 thunks in out of west 1. Since we know it went toward north 4 last time, went this way, so 1, 2. Okay, cool. So I think it has to be here. Five thunks out of east hole 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could be. Yeah, what I'm not seeing is either 1, 2, 3, something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or like this. Which makes me think that maybe both of these are empty. So here's east 3 to south 4 in 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that looks promising. We know them all. So 21 out of 21 objects are measurable. Great. So, where I thought we were going to have to do some sort of like escape room or something, it's actually quite different from that. So, got the solutions to all the puzzles. That gives us the measured and mass amounts for each puzzle, although we can't constrain the mass, and the text tells us that our job is to count the measured. So we've got the 3 tutorial boxes, followed by 3 calm, 3 swirling, and 3 torrential. The first letters of the placards spell word index. So the obvious thing to do is to take the measured value and index into the placard sentence. Big rig, gold atom smashed to new half robot. So I like this a lot because it picks out a lot of the words in the placard text that seem a bit, unusual, like atom, smashed, robot. Okay, so this looks like a cryptic crossword clue. So big rig, gold atom smashed to new half robot. The enumeration of 13. Okay, so if gold is AU, and then atom smashed could be Toma. Like a automaton or something. Semi-automatic. So big rig is semi, gold is AU, atom smash is TOMA. Yeah, I don't completely understand the cryptic clue here, but that's not too unusual. So let's just go ahead. No, not semi-automatic. Is that a thing? Semi-automaton? That makes more sense with both halves of the clue. Oh, of course. A semi-automaton is a deterministic finite automaton having inputs but no output. All right, great. Thunk by Nathan Pinsker. Nathan Pinsker also did Famous by Association and Steven's Speedrun. First of all, it's really great that they included a downloadable version of this puzzle. I think that the fate of all puzzles with a server-side component is eventually to become unusable. So, yeah, I'd like to see more of this. I finally did look at the source code after finishing it, and it's a good thing I didn't glance at it because the answers are very prominent in here. I know you're not supposed to look at the source code, but like this was written for a certain version of Python, which I happen to have, but in the future, somebody who doesn't have access to Python 2 might need to open this in order to edit it so they can run it in the first place. It's not a big deal, and it didn't spoil it for me. So that's great. So the write-up has a lot of detail. It's well written, but it's mostly stuff I noticed. The only thing I didn't catch, which I thought was very interesting, was that the length of the placards in words is equal to the number of cells. So this is like a 3x3 puzzle. There's 9 words in the placard. And that was a nice touch. I didn't have any trouble with the extraction, but if I had, that would have been something that certainly could have helped me. Yeah, so the extraction for this felt very merciful compared with some of the other puzzles in this hunt. I mean, they didn't need to put this clue on the door. They didn't need to have the first letter spell word index. The interface with this sort of like text adventure game is a little difficult to work with, especially the part about you'd say roll W if you wanted to put it on the east side of the box and vice versa. Yeah, that messed me up, and since there was no undo feature, it was kind of a pain. It says here they didn't have much time to code this. It was one of the last puzzles to be added to the hunt, and that they would have liked to have a graphical interface. I think that would have been really cool. Like if you have like the box on the screen, and then you can like click on one of the holes around the box, and you hear like thunk, 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 like 31 times or whatever. You have to count it, and you see where it comes out. I guess you would need to make sure that you don't give anything away with the timing of the thunks, or imply that the timing of the thunks is important. But I think it could work fine. It wasn't too bad, though. All right, so as for the core puzzle itself, I thought this was fun. It was nothing too absurdly challenging, but you sort of had to keep all the components in mind and think through how it was happening. So I had a good time solving this. It took me a long time to work out a good system for doing this. I make a lot of changes to my sort of style of putting things in. And then, of course, once I got it down, then we would switch to a different style, and I'd have to figure out a new system to work it out. Yeah, and then even at the end with these last 3 puzzles, I still wasn't completely sure how best to go about it. Like, I completely changed my approach between box 10 and box 11. And I think it's neat that the grids are so small. Like, even this is the largest one, and it's only 5x5. A lot of them were only 3x3. I don't know, it's really cool when you can just cram a puzzle in that little space. Yes, overall, the interface was a little hard to use, but the solve was fun. The extraction was merciful. I had a good time with this one. All right, that was day 5. Yeah, I think it went pretty well. Based on how days 3 and 4 went, I was expecting to have a lot of trouble by this point. I expected the puzzles to get harder as you go along. There was a couple of easy ones on days 1 and 2, so it seems like they put all the easy ones up front, but it doesn't seem like they saved all the hardest ones for day 5 and 6. It's kind of a relief. I'm glad that I'm still having fun and getting through at least some of the puzzles. So let's see. I've got at least 2 more videos to do here. One is the day 6 puzzles, and then at least 1 video to cover the meta, any sort of wrap-up or thoughts. I'm thinking of making some recommendations, perhaps. It probably will be a little while before the next videos come out, like normal with me. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time as we continue with the 2017 Galactic Puzzle Hunt.